following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, go Cowboys! This is Mick Shots, streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app. Now, here are Bill Jones, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola.
It is high noon on a Tuesday at the Star in Frisco, and time for another edition of Mick Shots.
Mick Shots.
Bill Jones, Everson Walls, Mickey Spagnola having an issue with his headset right now. When he gets that figured out, we will hear from Mickey as well.
You can see who the star of the show is. He has gold around his.
Yeah, he's got a whole
but
new
if I
microphone device.
Yeah,
there.
That's fancy. Look at it.
if I don't stay to this side, no one's going to see my face.
Well, maybe it's by
dear
design
heavens.
then. That's why
Thank
they
you,
did
Bill.
this.
Chris said he could have had the one.
It's a radio mic.
He could have had the one that went horizontal. He wanted the one to go vertical, so he just be right in your face.
I think
you
somebody,
look like you.
somebody broke the other one.
You look like you look like you're blinged out. That's what you look like.
Blinged
Spag.
out?
Yeah, you look blinged out.
Okay, I'll take that.
And so we have a matchup this week of the 3-1 Cowboys against the 2-2 defending Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams, who are working on a short week after playing a Monday night game at San Francisco and not coming out victorious against the 49ers.
Did they play? Did they play last night?
They did play
No,
last
they did not play last night.
They were there.
They were not playing.
Boy,
So you're feeling better about this upcoming
Yes,
game after seeing
absolutely.
last night's game.
I always felt good about it. I never not felt good about it. I think we can, with our defense. Defense travels, guys. Don't forget.
it traveled. It stayed at home in San Francisco.
Oh yeah, it sure did.
It didn't travel very far.
Didn't have to.
Well, San Francisco didn't have to do much offensively. They got just enough from Debo.
My man Debo, whatever they.
Troy Aikman's man, Debo. He said he's one of his favorite players in the league.
He was my
I
favorite
thought
player.
Matthew Stafford was his favorite player. in the
Not
league.
anymore.
Not since last night.
He was my favorite player when he was at South Carolina. And
Debo.
I'll tell yes, absolutely. And I'll tell you what, whatever they paid him, he's worth every
worth it.
penny.
Well, we saw that last year.
We've seen it since he's been in the league. How about when he gets up to full speed? Did you think any of those guys really wanted to tackle him?
Was that Ramsey? Was that Drake?
The last one was Ramsey.
Yeah, no one talked about that.
He didn't want
trucked
any
him.
part.
He trucked him.
He didn't want any part of getting a shoulder.
And I mean, that's
at
what
him.
he's back there for.
Right.
They put him back there to stop touchdowns. And he clearly did not do that on this one.
He didn't want to. And them other guys were olaying.
Oh, man, I just missed him.
Yeah.
I was right there.
So Mickey's guy in the draft in 2021 was Michael Parsons, right?
That's right.
From day one of the pre-draft process, Mickey said, I want that guy, Michael Parsons. 2 years prior to that, in 2019, you're saying your guy in that pre-draft process, and I think I remember that, was
Debo.
Debo. Debo's who you want.
And he didn't quite make it to the Cowboys.
And
What he went in the second round?
I'm looking through here
wanna
through the
say
draft.
he
He went
did.
second round, number 36 overall to San Francisco.
He didn't make it to the Cowboys in the second.
No, he did not.
You know, when you look at the similarities, we still have to contend with a Debo-ish type of player,
Yes.
and that's going to be with the Eagles. Brown, to me, not as good, but he's got the same virtues. He's got the same abilities.
Well, don't get ahead of yourself because they still got to deal with some guy named Cup.
Yes. Who should be tired this morning. He should be really tired this
Do
morning.
they have a record for how many times you can get targeted in
That
a
was
game?
going to say, not the catches, but targeted.
19.
Yeah,
19.
that's a lot. I got targeted 19 times.
So before we get into that,
Yes.
I'm looking at this Debo Samuel. All right. And in 2019, of course, the Cowboys did not have a first-round draft pick because they traded for Amari Cooper.
Amari Cooper.
Okay.
Yep.
And so their first pick was the Tristan Hill pick, which was at the end of the second round. Okay, now we look back in hindsight here. would you have in
Yes.
2018? This is the beauty of hindsight. Now here, 3 years later, or 4 years later, from when they had to make that decision in 2018 during the middle of the season to trade their 2019 first-round draft pick to get Amari Cooper. Okay, would you have rather now have just sacrificed that season, kept your 2019 first-round draft pick, and taken Deebo Samuel with that pick?
No, because you got to the playoffs.
Okay. All right.
And you wouldn't have
You just
been
said
there.
yes. So
Well, I didn't know
clarify
where
that.
exactly.
I mean,
where
that's
you
the
were
only
going.
reason. That's the only way.
I thought you were going to say,
too
"Would
fast,
you?"
didn't it?
I
He
thought
answered
you were
way
gonna,
too fast.
I thought he was going to say, "Would you rather have Deebo Samuel or Tristan Hill?" Mm-hmm. That's where my yes came in. But I know what you're saying.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But so that was when you look back at it, that was really the decision the Cowboys made in 2018. They could
Right.
have gone with what they had,
Which they weren't going to get very far.
okay, or they could or they made the trade, which is what they did, okay. And if they gone with what they had, they wouldn't have done. I mean, we can just assume that they would not have done much that season, okay. They would have had a first-round pick, and they could have taken Deebo Samuel.
Right. And he probably could have got him into the playoffs in 2020.
And then they would have been left with a decision this year, or the same decision San Francisco had, was to pay
How much you're gonna pay
him
him.
or pay,
Yeah.
which is
And the
the
Cowboys-
decision they made on Amari Cooper the year before, and then they
So we
traded him.
would have gotten rid of him then.
No.
We would have shipped him off to Cleveland.
Absolutely not.
His availability is better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Better than Randy Gregory's, by the way.
Well, I was going to. That was
How is
the
Randy
segue.
doing?
Well, he's
He's on
out
IR.
2 to 6 weeks. Unfortunately for him, it's not an ACL, but it's an MCL. Right? No, it's a meniscus.
Meniscus.
They had to do a little meniscus surgery, and so he's out 2 to 6 weeks. And first thing I thought of was availability.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, did you watch the whole game last night?
I watched a good portion of it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And your takeaway was?
It was boring. It was boring. I don't think they gained over. I think the longest play was 20 yards.
In the game?
Yeah.
For both sides?
No.
Well, Deebo
No.
went
No, for Los Angeles?
Yeah, for the Rams.
Their longest play was 18-yard reception by Cooper Kupp. It had a 17 by Skoranek. Is that how you say it? Skoranek?
Ben Skoranek.
The tight end?
Yeah,
Number
he's actually a
44?
big wide receiver.
44?
Wide receiver, that's right. The tight end's Higbee.
Yeah,
So
Who's 44?
they had
44
for the
That's the
Rams.
for the Niners.
Oh,
fullback.
Kyle Juszczyk.
Juszczyk.
Yeah,
He was balling last
yeah,
night.
yeah. He's a good player, really good player. Ivy leaguer.
So they threw 48 passes, 33 of them went towards either Kupp or Higbee. So,
Which has kind of been the story of their season, too.
right? And somebody had said the other day about the Cowboys should have signed Allen Robinson. That's the Allen Robinson that
Yes,
they signed this year?
Yes.
Not impressed.
2 catches for 7 yards. They had no one else to throw the ball to. Well, he couldn't stay clean.
He was
in
their
the
big
pocket
signing.
either.
Allen Robinson, 3 years, $46.5 million in the
I sure wouldn't have
offseason.
paid that.
Well, it's just like the problems we had last year. When your O-line is having
That's
problems,
exactly
Right.
right.
that's just the way
That's
it is.
exactly right.
And no quarterback is immune to that.
How many backups did they have on the offensive line yesterday?
I think
The
it was
Rams.
3.
Well,
I think it was
They had
3.
to replace the center, right?
Well, and then off their Super Bowl team, where I look at their left tackle as being
And
a backup too, because Whitworth obviously retired, and so
Right.
they're replacing him, and Joseph Noteboom is their left tackle. Brian Allen was their center, and he played the first game of the year, and he's been out since then. So there's two new players on their offensive
from
line.
last year.
Their third-round pick from this year, Logan Bruss, suffered an ACL injury, and he was ticketed probably to be one of the guard on that
starters.
A starter.
Okay.
So they're missing him. There's 3 potential starters that they've had, in the last, since January.
So let me summarize. 17 pressures, 7 sacks, 11 quarterback hits, 9 tackles for losses, and 5 passes broken up.
And that's the story of their entire passing game season. What Matthew Stafford has 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, something of that nature.
Basically, on their offensive line, just reviewing it, they have had the middle 3 guys, both guards and the center, are missing. So they basically have had to go with backups at their 3 interior offensive line positions.
And then
they still have
they lost their
Noteboom,
center last night too, by the way.
and they still have Joseph Noteboom, and they have Rob Havenstein.
So was that
their right
the third?
tackle?
So
the 2
was that,
tackles are still there.
Was that the 3rd center they were using last night?
Yes.
What was his name?
Brian Allen,
Cipollone or something like that.
Yeah, or I don't know how do you pronounce it, Coloni.
Coloni.
Yeah. Coloni.
I knew it was Cipollone.
It's Coleman Shelton also played 16 snaps. And Bobby Evans, who was a backup to start the season out of Allen, Texas, he made his first start of the season last
Allen
night.
High School?
Yep, Allen High School.
Mm-hmm.
So the Niners were coming in waves, and they didn't know which way they were coming from either. And they did quite a bit of looping and blitzing.
And got 7 sacks.
7 sacks. How do the Cowboys always end up playing these teams that just
Coming
got
off of 7
sacked?
sacks.
It was 9 the week before, right?
And Burrow had been sacked 7 times, I think,
Right.
the previous week against the Steelers. And
It's a good thing Brady was playing the first game.
And when it comes down to it, so far, no one has made any adjustments to stop us from coming in and doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So let's hope that trend continues. Because I just knew last week that the Commanders were going to just do something different, something better, and they didn't. I don't think they can. Based on the personnel.
It gets back to that offensive line.
Right.
And they were playing a center in Nick Martin, who wasn't on the team 10 days ago. And he was having to start and play every snap at center for Washington. He wasn't on a team in training camp this year.
You were saying the Cowboys should have signed him as a backup.
I thought in the offseason, because the Cowboys had we weren't sure what the Cowboys had as a inside guy, as a backup center. I thought that he would be a guy that they might bring in. Mm-hmm. And so he was, I think he was with the Raiders, and then I think the Saints had him late in camp, and then released him, and then Washington picked him up when they had a need. And so, but the point is. And then they lost their guard, Trey Turner, early in the game. And so Sadiq Charles is playing basically the entire game at right guard. Well, then we see the same scenario last night with the Rams, okay? And when we were talking about how scoring is down in the league, and we look at, we chronicled well what happened with Tampa Bay and the losses that they had on their offensive line throughout the offseason. And Brady, and that's why Brady isn't able to function outside of the fact he also has lost wide receivers, though he got him back this week. I think the offensive line issues is why scoring is down so much.
Isn't that something?
Amazing.
The defenses are so far ahead.
Tied to not defense being so amazingly great, offensive line being depleted. All offensive lines.
There's not enough depth of offensive linemen in the league.
Who knew that would happen?
But think about it.
It's the trickle-up effect from college football.
No one.
But why
they aren't being trained?
Well, first
because
of all,
they're putting those players those players on defense.
Yeah, no one grows up and said, "Gosh, can I just play guard?" Right? I always wanted to play guard.
I always wanted to be right there next to that center.
I told you my story about Joe Brodsky and how guys got. Like back in high school, because he was a big-time the Cowboys' former running back coach, big-time high school coach in Florida. And we were talking about it one day about offensive linemen. He goes, okay, look. He goes, first day of practice in high school. I don't know any of these guys. I look around and find the best athlete. Well, you're my quarterback. The next best athlete, okay, you're the running back. After that, can you catch the ball?
Yep,
okay,
my
wide receiver. If you can't, you're a cornerback. And then the next best athlete's going to be my defensive ends, then my linebackers.
Yep.
And then I look at the rest of the team and I go, rest of you guys, offensive
those
line.
dumpy guys over there.
You go play
the ones with the worst
line.
bodies.
Right.
Yeah, let's
go. I mean,
and that's in high school they got the worst body.
Right.
I'm not saying
exactly.
they grow up like
and they
that.
don't usually
but they
get
start
much
off,
better.
They start off a little dumpy.
So, I've said it all along. That's why these alternative leagues can't make it, because they don't have enough offensive linemen to allow you to get the skilled players to do what they do.
Well, even Deion talked about it when he was at Jackson State. They're saying, okay, when are you going to play Alabama? He said, we're not ready for Alabama. We don't have the players in the trenches.
Yeah.
Those are important. They make the difference, whether it's defense or offense, but they make the difference. And it definitely makes the difference between HBCU and a Power 5 school. Big fellas.
Especially if his son's going to play quarterback.
Yeah, he wants some bigger guys in there. No, we're not playing Alabama. Not till my son graduates.
It could be somebody else's son.
I'll be gone. I'll be gone by then.
All right. Well, that was a lively start to a Tuesday edition of Mick Shots, and Mickey just can't wait to say whatever he's going to say next. I want another Mick Shot from Mickey.
Got it.
Ready,
all right. Coming up next here on Mick Shots.
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. Fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
We paid how much for those lessons?
Shh, she's doing great.
Oh, yeah, totally. Can you pass me a Pepsi Zero Sugar? Great job, honey! Oh, look at that. That's not the end.
No way. Now it's time for the encore.
You know what? You're right. 5 times? Not enough times.
For everyone who traded in rock concerts for their kids' recitals, you've compromised enough. Pepsi Zero Sugar. That's what I like.
Nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate. You hear that? I'm a torrential downpour. Torrential? What's that even mean? It means you can't see out of your windshield. And if you have the wrong car insurance, you might have to make it rain to fix your bumper. So switch to Allstate, save money, and be better protected from mayhem, like me.
Based on coverage and limits selected, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. In most states, prices vary based on how you buy. Allstate Bar and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
What do you call a group of grown men and women with their faces painted silver and blue who get together every week to share a 3-hour-long ritual of jumping, singing, and toasting Miller Lite in 10-gallon hats while yelling, "How about them Cowboys?" You call it Miller Time in Dallas. Here's to the Cowboys. Here's to the original light beer. It's Miller Time. Celebrate responsibly. 2021 Miller Brewing Company, Fort Worth, Texas.
Back to Mick Shots.
K-Post Roofing and Waterproofing, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys. From corporate homes to your home, have your roof checked by choice, not by chance. Call now, 214-225-4860, kpostcompany.com.
Okay. We continue with Big Shots here, and we were talking at the break about because we were talking Deebo Samuel, and Everson's asking Mickey how Missouri did against South Carolina.
And I knew how they did.
And how did they do?
I told you they got beat by them.
Okay.
And
so I said, in a very snarky way, said, so who does Missouri have a winning record against in the SEC? And Mickey said, well, Vanderbilt.
Probably. He
Might
said,
be 500.
We must, probably, I'm sure. That's what he said.
Last year, Missouri won 37-28. The year before, Missouri won 41-0. Vandy won in 2019, 21-14. So you're right.
And
here in the last, they won 2 out of the last 3.
I want to see your first year or two in the SEC if you make it to the conference championship game, because Missouri did.
They did.
Listen to him.
Played in that SEC East.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care who
that's
they
the
were
easy.
playing.
Yeah, that's the easy.
How'd they do
SEC.
in that conference?
And they had the national champions on the ropes for 3.5 quarters.
You almost called that one, Spags. I got to give you love on that.
And
you
they had this
almost called
defending national champion on the ropes for 3.5 quarters.
I don't think you would have come to work yesterday.
Oh, no. I would have brought my banner. You would have heard the fight song instead of the Cowboys
flag.
There would have been Victory Monday for a different reason. All right, last night's game, one other note from last night's game. What was the best tackle of the night last night?
Best tackle.
Did you see the Bobby Wagner tackle?
Yes, I did.
Yes.
I didn't.
Of the
It was
fan.
a hell of a tackle.
No.
The fan who.
You didn't see who ran on the field?
No.
They didn't show it on the game because obviously, I mean.
They showed it on
They don't want to give him
Peyton
love.
and Eli.
Oh,
Of
they
course
did.
They will.
It was live on the
are.
Mickcast. It was.
That's not
Okay, I just saw it on Twitter
That's not surprising.
and retweeted it.
They had it.
CBS 11 Bill Jones, you can see it.
Yeah.
And
Everson, go check it out, please.
I'm
Yeah,
not
sure.
sure
I'm on
what
it right
the
now,
dude
then.
was doing, but he had purple flame, or not flame, smoke coming out of whatever he had on.
So he's running, and he runs right by the Rams bench, and
Their defensive end first came out.
Yeah.
and then Bobby Wagner came off the bench with his helmet on.
Colcott's the guy.
Mike Curtis, the late great Mike Curtis, would be so proud.
That's right.
Of Bobby Wagner's
Oh,
tackle.
you remember that, huh?
Oh yeah,
Old school.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right. And
He laid the guy out too.
Yes, it was
Bam!
perfect.
Nice.
Perfect form and everything.
He just, as I said, he added.
I see it.
Bobby Wagner added to his Hall of Fame resume.
Boom! That's right. Wait, but you got to give the assist though to the
the defensive end.
No, the guy in the yellow jacket. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He did. He just picked it back up.
Yeah, security got half a tackle on that. No, that was nice. Yeah, come on, Chris.
50 got a little bit of piece of him too.
You got to give the security guy some love. Boom, boom. See, he's the second one on him.
They were having trouble keeping up with the guy.
No, the number 50-something guy, he comes out. He was mad because he didn't get in on the tackle. See? And then here comes security was on there second. So no, you get a half a tackle on that.
Okay.
Gets an assist.
Yeah, he gets an assist. Right, watch this. Boom, knocked it. Boom, he's right on him. Yeah, the other guy didn't make it. No, the other guy.
And so that will be the most memorable tackle of Bobby Wagner's Hall of Fame career.
I gotta say, the guy's a little shifty there.
Well,
but he broke some ankles.
He
in the
did
middle of
break
the
some
field.
ankles down on the sidelines there. He sure did.
I was going to say it might have been the time that San Francisco didn't pick up Aaron Donald.
The best tackle of the night?
Yeah. Eddie nailed Garoppolo.
I got to say, they had a nice game plan for Aaron Donald.
Well, they finally did. At the beginning, they had to adjust.
They ran a trap on him. Did you see that? That was an old school trap play. Right up the middle. Touchdown by the run.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was an old school trap play because Aaron Donald, he had come through, but only a step. And that's all he needed was that one step. I think that was the guard came over and shielded him off. Running back's gone.
And
I haven't seen a trap in a long time.
All we talked about was San Francisco's defense, right? Well, if they don't get the pick six, right, they only give up 17 points.
Yeah.
It wasn't like San Francisco came out and Garoppolo was having a good night throwing the ball.
Yeah, he was decent.
But neither team, other than Debo's run, neither team could run the ball. Mm-hmm. I mean, he had it wasn't a run.
They had that one trap play. They had that one.
Wilson had a 32-yard run. Mm-hmm. They had 88 yards on 22 carries. They had 21 carries for 56 yards, and the Rams 18 carries for 57 yards. And we know the reason the Cowboys have had trouble the last few times they played the Rams is they couldn't stop the run. Mm-hmm. Well, they had trouble running against San Francisco. That's why they threw the ball 48 times.
This is what we will see next week.
Got to stop the run.
We got the same type of
and
team.
And the Cowboys can't do it the
have.
second half. And, the first half give up 101 and then figure it out the second half.
Right.
So did you just give the running the individual running stats from last night? Running back stats from last night?
From which team?
The Rams.
Cam Akers, San Francisco's.
Cam Akers had 8 carries for 13 yards last night.
He was right there with
Tony
Pollard.
Darrell Henderson had 4 carries for 7 carries for 27 yards.
Yeah, they averaged 3.2 a carry. Their long was 11. So, and McCarthy talked about it yesterday. About someone asked him, "Will you watch the?" Oh yeah, he goes. You can pick up a lot watching
in
live,
real time.
Real time.
I think so too.
And a game like this, where a little showcase game.
Yeah.
You know they're going to try and come out with their best adjustments,
right?
Because they hadn't been doing anything in protecting Matt. So yeah, what you saw there, that was the best they had. That's their best new thing until they come up with another idea on how to stop the quarterback from getting the hell knocked out of him.
So did you watch the game on regular ESPN, or you
Yes.
watched the Manning cast?
We got our ESPN back last night. Yes.
Okay.
And I had
You
the
paid
Manning.
your bill? You paid your bill?
Finally paid his bill. That's what I was going to say. He paid his bill.
Oh yeah, your
provider was in a war with Disney.
Oh, that thing.
Okay.
We got no college games on Saturday.
Did you go to a sports bar to watch your game?
I had to, yes, with no sound.
You could have just go get ESPN Plus. It's really cheap.
Yeah,
That's true.
It's
Chris.
part of ESPN.
Yeah,
They wiped out
they
all
wiped
of
out
ESPN.
even the
Well, yeah, but
the
you can
streaming.
get it on the
I couldn't stream it.
Wow, because
you
your
can
provider
usually-
got blocked.
You can go to ESPN, and you know how they have watch the game?
Yeah.
Well, you got to sign up to watch the game, right? And you got to put your provider and password in there.
So they
took that out too.
Wow.
Yeah, you think I was happy?
Oh man, that would not be good at all.
Saturday, ready for all.
So
You think the LSU fan in the family was happy?
So Eli, on the fan running on the field, they got into a conversation about when a streaker comes on the field, would you tackle the streaker when he came on the field?
Yeah, I had that on my computer.
Okay, and so Eli asked Peyton, so how do you tackle a streaker coming on the field?
You got to go up high.
That's what.
Yeah,
that's
you got to
basically
go
what-
up high.
Yeah, and then Peyton said, "Well, you don't wrap up." All I know is you don't wrap up.
You guys forget that was big stuff in the day when I was in college.
Streaking.
Yes. That 1 year.
Many people got their heads knocked off thinking that was cute.
Yeah.
Because back in the day, football players, well, obviously today as well, but old school football players, and you have some hippie, because that's all they were looked at as was hippies. You had some hippie right on the field, and boy, those old school blue collar boys were.
Mick, you went to the quad, to the gymnasium. Yeah.
They were so on Missouri's campus. There's the old columns from the old administration building that burned down, and it was like a cattle call. They were running through, and they were counting how many people were running through the two columns, right? And as long as everybody stayed on campus, it was cool, right? They just didn't want you going into town. There was people riding horses bareback, gave new meaning to bareback, on motorcycles, and we were sitting on the steps of my girlfriend's dorm. There was a bunch of people there. We were just sitting there kind of watching, and some guy comes up with a trench coat, opens it up,
Lord.
right? And one of the girls goes, "Well, why can't some of the football players do that?"
I'm offended.
It was
At the size.
It was quite a night.
All right, I think it's about time. If you're ready for a mix shot, you got to.
So we've been talking about offensive lines, right?
I love that thing. I'm sorry, go ahead.
And the Cowboys' offensive line, hopefully their homework assignment was to watch the game and figure out what they need to do with Aaron Donald. You cannot allow him to disrupt your entire offense. One man disrupt the entire offense. They finally made some adjustments on him. I bet he had all 5 of his tackles in the first half. He had 2 tackles for loss, a quarterback hit. He didn't have a sack, but, boy, he got close. And he was creating havoc there. So you cannot allow that guy to ruin your entire offense because he's that good, by the way.
What did you think what did you see San Francisco doing?
Well, they had him lined up. You know what they did, right? He looks for the soft spot. He originally started on San Francisco's right side, so he left defensive end. And then they kind of moved him to the other side. And finally, I think they've decided that, we probably ought to put 2 guys on there.
That's what I saw.
And
that's what I saw.
And make sure you have a tight end to his side, right? And you know what? The Cowboys have done a good job of doing that to protect their young offensive tackles. Playing a lot of 2 tight end, chipping and they've successfully, been able to run the ball with the 2 tight ends too. So yeah, I think you just got to do that. You got to make concessions to what you do offensively to make sure he doesn't ruin the night or the day.
He ended up looking frustrated.
Yes.
It wasn't just because they were having success, but they were having success and he couldn't get there. They stayed away from him for the most part of the game, but when they ran that trap play on him, I think that just burned him up, and he got really angry after that.
How many sacks do you think the Rams had?
The Rams? 1 sack.
0.
No hits?
They had 1 quarterback hit. So they figured it out.
He can be handled.
So
they see him twice a year. So
Cowboys, that's the 7th straight regular season win for San Francisco over the Rams.
Regular season.
Because in the game that they needed to win, they didn't win. And held them to they held the Rams to 3 field goals too, by the way. That was it. No touchdowns. First time that happened in Stafford's career with the Rams. But it's only been, 2 years? Year and 4 games.
Yeah, but you go back to last year, Matt's still having the problems that he just can't get away from. And that's the interceptions. Big turnovers. That pick 6 was huge.
Yeah.
That was huge.
Well, that guy made a nice play, right?
I hate bubble screens.
He came off
if
I'm
a
of his
DB,
guy.
I love him. But as a Cowboy fan, I don't like bubble screens. I just don't. I think they're very it depends on things have to work perfectly for the bubble screen to be effective. And first of all, you have to get a block on that defender. So therefore, if you have to get a block on that defender, then who's going to block your defender?
And you're counting on your wide receiver to make the key block, right? They don't grow up blocking.
No, they don't. And they don't look like they like it either.
Now, what I like is when they throw the smoke out and you're one-on-one in open space,
right?
And you're banking on your wide receiver to make a move on the guy. And you got a better chance, right?
Well, and that goes by pre-alignment. It did that against us with the Redskins. They came with the hitch route in '83 Monday night. They know we play off 31 safety zone, so they just come out. They just either throw it to them behind the line of scrimmage or just a quick hitch turnaround. Just go 5 yards.
I mean, chances are you're going to get 5 yards.
You're going to get at least 5, and now you got space between you and the cornerback.
And if the corner doesn't want to tackle,
that ain't fun. No,
right?
that ain't fun.
Yeah.
Love that interception by the Niners, though, the pick 6. Hufanga, man, he read that.
Man. And he came off of his guy. He let his guy go.
His guy his guy blocked the receiver's guy. So he was left unblocked, and he made the jump.
Yeah.
And that can happen a lot. That's why I don't like him.
And he got no shot if it happens, right? There's no one to catch him.
No. As you can imagine, Matthews, what he's feeling at that time, like, son of a...
I think they showed it. They showed his face on the replay, and it was almost like after he threw the ball, it was like, ah.
Yeah, it was done. He was done after that.
Yeah.
Mentally, he was done after that.
All right, we continue with more Mick Shots in just a moment.
We paid how much for those lessons?
Shh, she's doing great.
Oh, yeah, totally. Can you pass me a Pepsi Zero Sugar? Great job, honey! Oh, look at that. That's not the end.
No way. Now it's time for the encore.
You know what? You're right. 5 times? Not enough times.
For everyone who traded in rock concerts for their kids' recitals, you've compromised enough. Pepsi Zero Sugar. That's what I like.
Nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate. You hear that? I'm a torrential downpour. Torrential? What's that even mean? It means you can't see out of your windshield. And if you have the wrong car insurance, you might have to make it rain to fix your bumper. So switch to Allstate, save money, and be better protected from mayhem, like me.
Based on coverage and limits selected, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. In most states, prices vary based on how you buy. Allstate Bar and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. Fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
The season is finally here. For months, we've been gearing up to win. Now it's time for the team that performs on any field, United Ag and Turf. With John Deere Zero Turns for mowing, compact tractors for loading, mini excavators for digging, Gator utility vehicles for hauling, implements for grading, hay tools for baling. United Ag and Turf, for winning. The official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com for more. Back to Mick Shots.
Miller Lite is proud to bring you BBQ Fest Dallas, located at Miller Lighthouse at AT&T Stadium. Join your Cowboys from November 4th through the 6th for some of the best barbecue in the country. Get your tickets today at SeatGeek.com, the official ticketing provider of AT&T Stadium.
Some moves around the league. Former Cowboy quarterback Garrett Gilbert has found a new home.
No way!
The Patriots are signing Garrett Gilbert to their practice squad. Of course, they've got injury issues of their own at quarterback.
So they lost their top 2 quarterbacks, right?
Yeah, Mac Jones has the high ankle sprain. He's out for however long. And then Brian Hoyer left with a concussion. So Bailey Zappi, their fourth-round draft pick, who was playing at Houston Baptist a year and a half ago.
And then they didn't have anybody to run the practice squad, right?
Yep. And so now they've signed Garrett Gilbert. And, of course, the Giants are going through similar issues right now because Daniel Jones has an ankle injury and Tyrod Taylor concussion, and they're going to London to play the Packers. So Aaron Rodgers, he gets to play against Bailey Zappi one week, and now it might be Davis Webb, who's their practice squad guy, who might be starting for the Giants against the Packers in London on Sunday. So
I know I can't say much with my name, but man, what's his name again?
With Bailey Zappi.
Bailey Zappi.
Zappe.
Heck of a name.
And by the way, I'm going to repeat this. We've said it so many times, but I heard somebody say it yesterday, and I can't remember where, that look at the Cowboys. You know, what they're getting from Cooper Rush, and they didn't even want him because they released him. It's like, God. They released him because he wasn't eligible for waivers, and they told him just to sit tight, and he would get re-signed. Mm-hmm. Goodness gracious.
Well, and other teams are doing the exact same thing with their quarterbacks.
Exactly.
I mean, that's the other thing with a quarterback position. You can't, especially beginning of the season. You're not picking up that player for the future, okay?
Yeah.
Because you get your own future quarterback, hopefully on your roster, a developmental guy, because you haven't had run through the rush of injuries, or they haven't proven that they can't do it yet.
And then
so you pick up somebody else's guy.
You're not going to pick up somebody that doesn't know your language.
And that's my point. Yeah. Quarterback, you can't just show up and play.
And the only way you lose them if somebody comes in and says, "Well, Coop, you know what? We're going to give you $5 million a year," and that's probably not going to happen.
I heard a former player, this morning say that Cooper Rush is doing things that Dak Prescott never could do.
Oh, some guy that's kind of nationally on Twitter. Former player, I think. He's an agent type. Joel Curry.
Okay.
He basically tweeted that as long as Cooper Rush keeps winning, Dak Prescott will not be able to grip the football.
I had an argument during the game with a former Cowboy player. I will not name his name because he is foolish as hell.
You're going to protect.
And he said, when CD scored the last touchdown, he's wide open. And he goes, see, Jerry's not going to put that guy on the bench. Like, dude, if Dak was playing right now, we have 3 touchdowns. So let's just stop with this. You know, the guy's wide open. Jerry's not putting on the bench. Man, you need to really stop talking because you let me know just how dumb you are. Because this is crazy, man. I mean, I'm enjoying it. I'm sure Dak is as well. And I say, as long as he's playing well, yes, Dak cannot grip the ball. But whenever Dak is ready, if he wants to come in, my brother, have at it. You know, whenever you're ready. But I think I would rather, I'm glad we have this luxury, that's my thing, to be able to say, okay, we don't need to rush him
You don't have
back.
to bring him back before he can fully grip the football.
I mean, people forget how good he was playing last year.
I don't understand how they could. 37-10, that's all I kept saying to the guy.
37-10 and 105. Yeah, almost 105, yeah.
Well, you know, I had
Third
to lie.
best
I was arguing, so I had to lie a little bit. Yeah, you know, I think I said 106. Yeah, but you know, it sounded good.
It was only behind some guy named Aaron Rodgers and Joe Burrow.
Right.
That was the only guys that had a better quarterback rating than he did.
And it's amazing how people forget that.
You know, and then you can't say anything because the other day he said something about, you know, when you're on the sideline watching, you see some things, and the game's not that difficult. It's pretty simple. When you're not out there in the middle of it, you see stuff, right? And right away, it's like, oh, so Cooper Rush sees things better than Dak Prescott. And it's like, and he's not going to play this week, okay? I don't know why they just keep. He's seeing the doctor today, so I assume they're going to take X-rays to see how the bone's doing, see where it's at, because it's almost. Is it 4 weeks yet or not?
It's basically
4 weeks.
4 weeks.
4-0.
So he got hurt.
But played on September 11th. And what is today? October 4th.
3rd or 4th, whatever.
1825. They were a little over 3 weeks.
So it'd be 4 weeks on Sunday.
Yeah, this coming Sunday would be 4 weeks.
And that was the minimum. Mm-hmm. And then you got to be ready to get ready to play. I'm thinking at some point when he's allowed to throw, he'll throw, and then maybe the next week he practices.
Like we talked about with Michael Gallup.
Yeah.
You know, being ready to come back. You don't just jump out there.
And McCarthy,
you got to get your practices in, and then you're ready to play.
McCarthy said it Monday that he wants to have him have a full week of practice before he plays in a game.
Yeah, a full week, not just going out there throwing the soft toss.
No, hoisting, as we call
it. Where he is running out there with the ones.
Yes.
From the first snap of the Wednesday practice.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
Because that was the deal with Gallup. You know, he wasn't. He was practicing, right? But he wasn't like taking all the snaps, right?
You want to ramp it up.
And they actually gave him more than they anticipated in the game.
So I'm pretty sure he politicked for more plays.
Once he got that touchdown, it's like, okay, I'm good to go.
I feel good.
Yeah.
Send me deep.
So we'll know next Wednesday.
Maybe. Yeah.
First practice for Philadelphia. We'll know
if he's able to.
If he's out there taking the reps with the ones on Wednesday, then he's good to go.
See, because you don't want
a week from tomorrow
to go out there for 2 days taking the reps with the ones, right? And then it's like, I don't think he's ready. And then you stole all those reps from Cooper Rush. Because when you're the backup, you get nothing. And he mentioned it. Somebody said something to him about, you only get a few. He goes, no, none. Dak takes them all.
Yeah.
So only reps he would get if he was running the scout team.
They better be mental reps.
Yeah, and that's what they do. And that's why you got to give him credit for what he's done. Because once the season starts, he gets nothing. Well, it was only one game, but,
But some might ask, well, why not give them both all the reps? Because you can't practice that long.
That's right. You only have so much time.
Yeah, they used to do that.
Yeah, right? Just stay out there till you're finished, right?
Till everybody gets all the reps
till Tom gets tired.
Yeah, pretty soon, the NFLPA rep will be here monitoring practice.
Tom used to get upset when they would try to tell him what to do. they would tell us we had to have so much time off in training camp. And I remember Tom saying, I'm not giving a bunch of married guys time off in Los Angeles, California. They can find me all you want, NFL. I'm not giving them that much time.
Especially the single guys.
Exactly.
All right, that does it for another edition of Mick Shots, and we focus in on these Los Angeles Rams on our next edition, coming up at high noon on Wednesday.
Go Cowboys.
See ya.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?